Hello, good morning everyone. Good morning, can you hear me? Good morning, guys, can you hear me? Can you see the video? Please write in the chat so that I get an idea. Good morning, Lena. Welcome to the class. Aditi, yes. Good morning. Hope you guys can see. Shall we begin the class then? Madhu Smita Patnaik, good morning. Gayatri, good morning. Yeah, nice to have you guys around. Long, good morning. So I think we can begin the class, and it is visible to you. So today what we're going to be doing is analytical reasoning and the new pattern. Abhinay, good morning. And not much information is available for this kind of questions. So what we're going to do today is that we shall see what at the end of the class. Let me first say what is the purpose of analytical reasoning test. So in today's class what we will do is these tests, we'll do a couple of two examples or so. These tests assess your ability to study some information that has been given to you in the form of a small paragraph, and then you read the para and apply logic to it to find the correct answer. What is the correct answer? The correct answer could be, they may ask you what is not relevant to the para, or what is discordant. There'll be a couple of options given there. So which option or which options are discordant, not in sync with the thinking of the paragraph. So you have to use a little bit of your reasoning power and analytical ability and filter out the information that is sticking out, which is not perhaps in tune, in sync, or correct with the given paragraph. So, in other words, what we will be seeing what the examiner would be seeing, and what we're going to do in the class today is to see whether you are able to find some connection or a logical reference that may be arising from that para that we are talking about, that we'll be discussing. It is also so when they test this, they will be testing your measure of critical thinking and problem solving skills. That's important. These days the competitive exams being what they are, they would like to have people across disciplines. So you could be from the engineering, you could be from the art side, you could be from sciences, but they do look for people who are in a position to think logically, to come up with the right kind of inferences, and whether you have the right problem solving skills. So it also will evaluate your inductive and deductive skills. Now with this in the background, let's see at the end of the class what are we going to take away. At the end of this class, I hope, if you followed the lectures as I'm going to be telling you, you will be able to understand the purpose of analytical reasoning, A. B, you will also understand what is deductive reasoning, because there are two kinds of reasonings. Here we are concentrating on deductive reasoning. Learn how to go about reading a given paragraph. So when a para is given to you, we have limited time at our disposal, and therefore you have to quickly read, learn, grasp, try to come to the central point there. Filter out the unwanted conclusions and arrive at the right deductions. So these are going to be your takeaways at the end of this class. So as I said in the beginning, we have two kinds of logic. You have the deductive and the inductive. So in deductive reasoning, what happens is you are trying to find a valid reasoning or a valid conclusion based on one or more or given statements or views, or on the basis of what has been written up in the para that has been given to you. Please understand, this is important, a valid reasoning. What is being asked of me? Is this correct or not? Is it valid? And that should arise from the para itself, not from the external circumstances. In inductive reasoning, you see, we kind of make predictions based on culling out specific information. So these are picture-based tests and not of much use to us here. This is based, in our kind of exam that we are giving, the bank exams, we will require deductive reasoning, which we have to infer. We have to infer from the question. So are we clear on deductive reasoning and inductive reasoning? We are going to concentrate on deductive reasoning here. Are we clear on that? Yes or no? Can someone say yes or no? I'm getting no response. Am I audible? Yes, Lena says yes. Coronavirus nemesis of pension seekers. Is this reasoning session? Is this logical reasoning session, sir? Who's this? Coronavirus nemesis. Okay. Is this logical reasoning? This is analytical reasoning. Logic follows from there. Yes. Logic follows from there. So so we are clear with the deductive reasoning, and let's go to our next slide. Let's give you a very simple and an easy example. So to begin with, I said all plants are green. So our para will have certain premises in it, certain inferences that we can draw from the premise. So first thing is all plants are green. That's the statement I'm making. That's premise number one. Watercress is green. This is second premise that I'm making. Now, from here, I'm saying watercress is a plant. And also, watercress will die without water. Now, I've made two inferences from the above two statements. Which of one of them is correct, or both of them are correct, or both of them are wrong? So can anyone say which one is, are they both correct? Watercress is a plant I have derived from the first two sentences, and watercress will die without water is the second inference that I am making. So coronavirus says both are wrong. Okay, that's one opinion. Anybody else? Lena says one is correct. One meaning watercress is a plant. She says that is correct. Anybody else? Abhinay? Olong? Anyone would like to make a guess? Abhinay says both are wrong. So we have two guys saying both the statements are wrong. Lena says one is correct. Oblong says both 1 and 2 are correct. So we have a varied opinion. Aspirant says 1 is correct. Now I notice that more people are saying 1 is correct. Yes, actually so, very true. From this, see, from all plants are green and watercress is green, so watercress is a plant. That is the correct inference, absolutely right, based on the above two premises. The last one, the second one, watercress will die without water. Well, that is factual. Any plant will die without water. So that may be true otherwise, but within the given statement, it is not correct. We cannot infer from there. You are inferring that watercress will die without water based on your wisdom and information that you've grown up with, that plants need water, plants will require nourishment, otherwise they die. So, are we clear then that although many of you who have said that number 2 is correct, technically it is factually correct, but not correct within the statement that we have the two premises, premise number 1 and premise number 2, it is not correct. Are we clear on that? Yes, Gopal, good morning. You're late. Yes, a little late. We have finished 4 slides or so. Doesn't matter. You will you're well in time. Aspirin says some plants are green. Wait, I will not saying some plants. You see the statement, you must read the statement carefully. All plants are green, it says. All plants are green. Watercress is green. These are not inferences. These are two statements. Sir, if my pen is green, then we can say my pen is blunt. How can we conclude? You see, my pen is green, fine, but your pen, it says all plants are green. It is not saying all objects are green are plants. All green objects are plants. Had the first statement said all green objects are plant, then most certainly your pen would have been a plant too, by that logic, by that deductive logic, right? Abhinay? Are you getting me? Your statement, I'm taking your statement once again. But guys, Abhinay says, if my pen is green, then can we say my pen is a plant? How can we conclude? So you have to see the green color context in the context of the statement premise number 1 and premise number 2. Now premise number 1 says all plants are green. All plants. It is not saying all objects are green and all green objects will become plants. Not at all. So here we go by water. So all plants are green. Watercress is green. Having said that, now my inference is watercress is a plant. And this is the correct statement. Watercress will die without water. No, it doesn't say that anywhere. Okay. So this is the easy way to give you an idea of deductive logic. I'm sorry, the PowerPoint keeps skipping back and forth to different slides, but there is some technical defect perhaps somewhere which I'm not able to handle here. So don't mind when the slides slip back and forth. So now what we will do is, easy part is over. And I'm going to give you an actual para, in the sense the kind of para that you would be getting. This is just by way of example to get to warm up, to break the ice. Now we will take the actual para, which may comprise about 3 to 4 sentences. This is the kind of para that you would be getting. It's there on your screen now, and read the para carefully with me. Now forget everything else now and let us concentrate on paragraph number 1, which I have taken from a recent edition of the Indian Express, dated May 12. It's an article by Raja Mohan. Now let me read the para for you and please listen. But trade politics in the US have evolved significantly in recent years. Under Trump, the Republican Party has turned from the champion to a critic of free trade. The Democratic Party, which embraced globalization since the early 1990s, has seen the erosion of working class support. Elections this year could reveal if the shifting alignments on trade are now cast in stone and if anti-trade sentiment in America is deep and wide. Gopal Gupta, sir, I'm not getting you, Gopal, sorry, but then you came late and therefore you have missed out. I will quickly, for your benefit, tell you that in this class, this is your takeaway. You will try and understand the process, the purpose of analytical reasoning. You will grasp what is deductive reasoning. You should learn how to read a given para, which is where I am now. I am on the third point. When you came, we were trying to understand deductive reasoning. Learn how to go about reading a given para, filter out the unwanted conclusions, and arrive at the right deductions. Gopal, this is the purpose of our today's lecture. I expect that at the end of the class, you would be in a fairly good position to get these 5 points. Are we clear, Gopal? Say yes or no. Okay, so I go back to the para, and Gopal, be with us now, and let's see. I hope you have read this para. I give you a minute to read the para on your own. Please read the para on your own now. 1 minute's time. There's just 4 sentences in there. Okay, so shall we go ahead and analyze the para? Can you explain in Hindi? गोपाल, हिंदी में ना ये थोड़ा सा मुझे टेक्निकल वर्ड्स नहीं आएंगे हिंदी में, इसलिए मुझे हिंदी में समझाने में थोड़ी कठिनाई हो सकती है। लेकिन आप बताइए, आपको कौन सा शब्द नहीं समझ में आया है हिंदी अंग्रेजी का, जो मैं हिंदी में आपसे बता सकूं? इसमें डिडक्टिव रीजनिंग क्या होती है? जो आप डिड्यूस करते हैं, आप इन्फर करते हैं, जो किसकी बेसिस जो होती है वो इन्फ्रेंस पे होती है। यू इन्फर, आप डिड्यूस करते हैं। और इंडक्टिव जो होती है, जो हम किसी बेसिस इंफॉर्मेशन के बेसिस पे कोई पिक्चर बनी होती है, उसमें कई प्रकार के डॉट्स होती हैं, उनको आगे पीछे कर डिफरेंट फॉर्म्स में होती हैं, उससे हम कुछ इन्फर करते हैं। तो वो हम लोग नहीं कर रहे हैं, इंडक्टिव रीजनिंग हम लोग नहीं कर रहे हैं। आज की कक्षा में हम लोग केवल डिडक्टिव रीजनिंग करेंगे, और डिडक्टिव रीजनिंग इन्फरेंस पे बेस्ड है। गोपाल, आर वी क्लियर? Okay, Gopal is silent now, so I will go back to our para, and I have presumed everybody has read. Now let's just break this para. Thank you, Gopal. I'm glad you got it. अब हमने क्या करा, उस पैरा को तोड़ दिया है धीमे से पढ़ने के लिए। There were 1, 2, 3, 4. There were 4 sentences there, और चारों को हमने अलग अलग करके देखा है। फर्स्ट सेंटेंसेस हमने डिकंस्ट्रक्ट करा है, और बाद में हम उसमें लॉजिक निकालेंगे। So, first sentence said, but trade politics in the US have evolved significantly in recent years. So, आपको important क्या है? Have evolved. Trade politics के ऊपर बात हो रही है। We are discussing trade politics. Trade politics have evolved in the US. The context is United States of America. We are talking of trade politics in the US. Next para says, under Trump, the Republican Party has turned from the champion to a critic of free trade. आप देख रहे हैं, फर्स्ट सेंटेंस में हमने ट्रेड पॉलिटिक्स के बारे में बात करी है। Thereafter, we are coming directly to Trump and the Republican Party. Obviously, it follows here that Trump belongs to the Republican Party. In case you are not familiar with the US politics, you would make out from this single sentence, under Trump, the Republican Party has turned from the champion to a critic of free trade. So, free trade में Trump का रिपब्लिकन पार्टी का क्या स्टैंड रहा है. वो पहले चैंपियन थी फ्री ट्रेड की. दे वर सेइंग दैट फ्री ट्रेड शुड बी अलाउड, एंड नाउ दे हैव बिकम क्रिटिक्स. दे हैव हैड अ रीथिंक and they are not supporting free trade. Third sentence कह रहा है the Democratic Party. Now he's talking of the second party in the US. The Democratic Party, which embraced globalization since the 1990s, has seen the erosion of working class support. So what is happening here? Republican Party, which was a champion of free trade, has become a critic of free trade. The Democratic Party, which embraced globalization, which was also in for free trade since the 1990s, बहुत पहले से वो free trade को promote करती थी, has seen the erosion of working class support. जो उनका support base था, जो उनकी policies से agree करता था, that base is shifting. They have seen an erosion. It has come down. So the support has come down. Now, what is going to happen? Elections are going to be held. Elections this year could reveal if shifting alignments on trade. What are shifting alignments? The Republican Party stand and the Democratic Party stand. This is what we are inferring now. On trade are now cast in stone. Cast in stone. I hope you understand the meaning of this phrase. Cast in stone. Gopal, you understand cast in stone? So is this important for legal officer of SEBI exam? Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, I can't answer your question, Gopal, because I'm not familiar with the legal officer syllabus. But I'm sure the reasoning would be there. You will have to check with the ixamBee. They will be able to tell you on that. Yes, engrave forever, Lina says. Permanent says coronavirus. Fine. So this is the answer, Gopal. आपको आंसर मिल गया है. Permanent. Are now cast in stone. They have become firm. They have become permanent in a nature. आप पत्थर की लकीर लगाते हैं ना, हिंदी में बोलते हैं हम, पत्थर से लकीर लगा दी है, वो पत्थर में लकीर लगा दी है, whatever. So this is our para. Are we clear on the paragraph? We have understood the paragraph. Now let us go to our next thing. Which of the following statements can be derived from the para above? अब हमारे पास 5 सेंटेंस आएंगे and some of them may be correct, some of them may be wrong. We have to see which one is going to, which is correct and which is not correct. Now let's see this. If I share here, if I play this, it may be better for you. Okay, this I'll play. There is a shift in the stance of the Democratic Party. This is what it says. There is a shift in the stance of the Democratic Party. Is this sentence, can we say this from the above para? Yes or no? I've already given the answer here actually, so you will be able to read it, but let me cut the answer. So there is a shift. There is a shift in the stance of the Democratic Party. Is this correct? Lina says no, sir. Right, Lina? Is it no? Anybody else? What did the para say? Let's go back to the para and understand. The Democratic Party, which embraced globalization since the early 90s, has seen the erosion of working class support. So, Lina, you are right in the sense that there is no shift in the Democratic Party's stand. The shift is in the support of the party supporters. This is incorrect, as Lina says, as the shift is not in the parties but the working class's stance, which strongly supports it and now seems to be moving away from the party's thinking. So the question has been, the logic has been twisted a little, and it gives you the impression, he is asking you, is there a shift in the stance of the Democratic Party? If you read in a very casual manner, you may tend to say yes. But as Lina has read it rightly, she says, no, this is not correct. And the reason is what I've written here. This is incorrect. This is incorrect, as the shift is not in the party stand but in the stance of the working class. So earlier, the working, from the 90s, as we have read, the working class was supporting, and now there is an erosion in the base. It is erosion. That is the word they have used. Erosion का मतलब हुआ कोई चीज जो घट जाती है, इरोड हो जाती है, सॉइल इरोड हो जाता है. जैसे पहाड़ों पे जब बरसात होती है तो सॉइल इरोड होता है और पहाड़ कमज़ोर हो जाते हैं. सेम थिंग, देयर इज एन इरोजन हियर. नाउ द सेकंड क्वेश्चन इज, देयर इज अ चेंज in the stance of the Republican Party. Is this correct? Move away, Lina says yes. So there is a change in the stance of the Republican Party. Is this right or wrong? Let's go back to the sentence. Under Trump, the Republican Party has turned from the champion to a critic of free trade. So most certainly there is a change in the stance of the Republican Party. जो पहले free trade को support करती थी पार्टी, अब उसके क्रिटिक हो गए. पहले वो चैंपियंस थे, अब वो एक क्रिटिक हो गए हैं उसके. इसलिए we can say from the above para that yes, there is a change in the stance of the Republican Party. Yes, you are right. What you say, Lina, is right. They were supporting free trade, but now are stringent in trade practices. They become critics. Not stringent really, but yeah, they become critical of certain trade practices, anti-trade. They have taken that stand. Let's see the yes, along, but it is not saying that. What you are saying, Republican becoming more conservative, they have not said it, but it is implied that they have, started talking in another voice, which is not what they were saying earlier. Okay, the next would be, Trump is going to lose the next elections. Does it say that? No. This is incorrect, as it is not stated and that he would lose election. Let's go back to the para. Elections this year could reveal if the shifting alignments on trade are now cast in stone. So it is not saying who is going to win or who is going to lose. Yes, no, they are not saying that Trump is going to lose election, or for that matter, Trump is going to win elections. I could also ask you this question, change this a little and say Trump is going to win the next elections. So to that, is it okay now, guys? Is this sentence, can we say that from the above sentence, above paragraph? Yes, Abhinay, can you say Trump is going to win elections? How do you say that? I'll give you the para again. Read it and let me know on what basis, Abhinay, you're saying that Trump will win the elections. Where does it say that Trump is going to win the elections? Nowhere. Nowhere is it stated whether Trump will win or Trump will lose, or whether Democratic Party will win or Democratic Party will lose. That is not said anywhere in the words, or you cannot derive this from there. Okay, I mean, sorry, I mean, I'm okay with you, sir. Fine, thank you. Sorry for the communication gap. Um, yes, we can't infer about the final result, but the fourth question says the views of Democrat supporters are likely to impact election results in US. Yes, we can't infer about the final results, and we also, this is not this, the views of Democratic supporters are likely to impact the election results in the elections. Yes, this is correct. As a support of the working, as the support of the working class to the Democratic Party is now eroding. So if the Democratic supporters are going to change their stand, they are losing faith, it may impact the election results most likely. Last one. Election results will truly reflect the stand of Americans on trade politics. This is correct, as many Americans seem to have realigned, they have repositioned their political leanings, and their impact would be visible. So, those who were anti trade, those who were pro trade, these people have all moved towards one direction, which seems to be the anti trade politics. And therefore, if their stand is going to be what we are getting to feel, then certainly the election results would reflect what is the stand of the Americans, whether they are supportive of the free trade or not. And this is exactly what the last line of the paragraph was saying. Elections this year could reveal, see, it is a possibility, it is not declaring, could reveal that the changes on trade, the shifting alignment means जो लोगों के विचार थे, विचारधाराएं थी जो बदल गई हैं, जो सपोर्ट करते थे उन्होंने सपोर्ट करना कम कर दिया है, जो चैंपियन थे उन्होंने भी क्रिटिक बन गए हैं उसके, तो अब ये परमानेंट हैं. If these things are now, if this thinking is permanent, then America is going to see a different result at the end of when the elections are held. ये हमको तभी मालूम चलेगा जब हमारे पास इलेक्शन रिजल्ट्स आ जाएंगे. So there we are. With the reasoning, deductive reasoning that we have done in para 1, it is not very simple because it is apparently simple. If you read the para, if you deconstruct the para, the strategy that I have given you is to deconstruct the para, break the sentence. Now you will not have the time in the exam to go about rewriting para by line by sentence by sentence. So what you will be doing is, therefore, but trade politics in the US have evolved significantly over the years. Maybe you could just take your pen and draw a line here. So that means this is one segment, and then under the Republican Party, blah blah blah, till trade we draw another stroke, we give another stroke here. So we are segregating. That will be easier. I had the liberty and the time to copy and paste on my slide for your convenience by deconstruction to reconstruction, but you can simply put slashes there and do it. So this The whole idea is that I'm testing your analytical skill and your logical thinking. If I'm trying to twist my argument a little, are you able to see the change there or not? Are you able to detect that what I've said is not in sync with the logic being stated in the paragraph given to me? No, we are not, Ashwika. What is this it? I do not know what you are saying about it. States that the ambiguity is high. From where you have come to this conclusion? So, are you all with me now? Are you able to see how we've done this para? The third inference. What is the third inference? Trump is going to win the next elections. No, it doesn't say that anywhere. Ashwika, third doesn't say that. There's no ambiguity there. It doesn't talk of Trump winning or losing. Okay, so now we have some more time. So I will take one more para. Let's do one more para to give you, a better feel of the same thing that we are doing. We'll take one more example. Is para 2. Now please, I read it for you first, and then you can read along with me if you want to. Basic necessities like environmental protection, worker safety, hazardous industrial activity, basic rights require regulation. We have to invest in the state capacity to do them right. We need to reclaim the word reform. Reform should be used only when a particular measure actually achieves a desired objective. Gutting environmental laws is not reform. Designing laws and enforcement that achieve clean air and water is reform. Complex para, it looks complex, yes. So I will break it again for you and read it now on your own slowly. I have deconstructed the para. The first sentence says, basic necessities. What are basic necessities like? Environmental protection, worker safety, hazardous industrial activity, basic rights. These kind of things require regulation, and we have to invest in the state capacity to do them right. Next sentence says, we need to reclaim the word reform. Now, in the first para, please notice they are talking about, in the first sentence, they're talking of regulation. Regulation of certain items. In the second sentence, we are talking of reform. What is reform? Reform should be used only when a particular measure actually achieves a desired objective. And in the third and the final sentence, it's giving you an example. Gutting environmental laws is not reform. Designing laws and enforcement that achieve clean air and water is reform. Now it looks very simple. Give me a yes, please, if you've read the para. I give you 1 more minute to read it. Then we shall deduct the logic from here also. गोपाल, आपको समझ में आ रहा है ये पैराग्राफ? कोई शब्द ऐसा है जो आपको नहीं समझ में आया? Are you still in the class, Gopal? चले गए गोपाल क्या? Anyone else other than Gopal who is finding it a little difficult to understand some word in English, please let me know. But please remember, these paragraphs are going to be from newspapers, current affairs. Normally these are very, very latest concerns. So they are all in English, and the writers do use words which could be sometimes somewhat unfamiliar to you if you are not very comfortable with the language. But I notice here in the class that by and large everybody is able to grasp the meaning of the sentences very easily. That's a good sign. Okay, so everyone is read. Let's go to the next slide. Which of the following statements can be derived from the above para? All critical necessities are basic to our existence and require regulation. Is this correct? Yes? Some responses, please. No, there is no mention. Along says there is no mention of all, so it is incorrect. Anybody else? Yes, you are right. Both of you are right. I'm glad. I'm happy to see that you're on track. This is incorrect as only some basic necessities are mentioned which require regulation. They are not basic to our existence. Here it says all critical necessities. All words you notice are different. The writer has not used all. The writer has not said critical. He has only said basic, some basic necessities. So this sentence you cannot derive and say from here because all critical necessities are basic to our existence and require regulation. Some require regulation. That is what he's saying. Some basic things require. Yes, Abhinay said very rightly. Only basic necessities. And Abhinay, again, please notice not only basic, but some basic. There are many basic necessities. We're not talking of just roti, kapra, makan. He is talking at a very macro level. Necessities which are needed. And what are these necessities? Let's go back to the para and see in basic necessities like environmental protection, worker safety, hazardous industrial activity, basic rights. These he has listed require regulation. Okay, now I'm glad you got the first one right. So let's see the second one. Regulations have to be carried out by the government to bring reforms. Of course, the answer is there, right there. Yes, Ashwika, the basic ones referred to in para. Very right, you're right. So the second derivation is regulations have to be carried out by the government to bring reforms is not correct again. This is incorrect because although regulation is, whose job is regulation? Is the government's job and they should do a good job, he says. But it does not lead to reforms. All regulation, we presume that I'm carrying out certain changes in the land holdings. So the government passes an order. So hoping it will lead to changes. But here that is irrelevant to us. In this para, regulations have to be carried out by the government to bring reforms. No, let's go back to the. Sorry. We have to invest in the state capacity to do them right. So regulation, these things require regulation. The government has to do it rightly. That is all that they are saying. So government may think of carrying out reforms, but it is not what the para is saying here. Therefore, this is not correct. It does not lead to reforms. So the next question, achieving the objective is true reform. Right? Absolutely. This is correct because he has given a new meaning. If you notice in the para, we need to reclaim the word reform. So don't use reform in the normal sense, but reform means when a regulation has been enacted and the desired objective has been achieved. The success of the regulation, what we say, is just on paper. There is a law, it's only on paper. It's not happening in real life. So that is no reform. He says reform should be only when it has served the desired objective. So back to our achieving the objective is a true reform. Yes, this is correct, as reforms can be considered as being successful only if the purpose of introducing them is achieved. Achieving. So here you have achieving and you have true reform. Now, fourth one is all industrial activities and environmental protections are hazardous. Tell me. Of course, you can see the answer here. Incorrect, as this has not been stated anywhere. It only states that industrial activity and environmental protection laws are hazardous if left unregulated. That's all it is saying. Though it gives the impression that, industrial activity, because your normal thinking, the way you've been brought up, outside the scope of this para, you would say yes, there's a lot of activity which is harmful. But this is not what is being stated here. All activities, no, it doesn't say that. Please remember, let's go back and see the para. No way it's saying that. It doesn't say environmental. It is just using this adjective at one point. Okay, for the industrial activity. Now we come to the last logic, that would be the meaning of reform needs to be restated. Correct, as a new definition to the word reform has been given, linking it to successful end result. This is correct. The meaning of reform needs to be restated. That you can derive from here. Designing laws and enforcement that achieve clean air and water is reform. Just destroying environmental laws is not reform. Okay, this law doesn't work, remove it. No, that is not reform. You design a law and enforce a law and get the desired result. That is your actual reform. So we can rightly say that the meaning of reform needs to be restated. So I think I've given you two examples and two paras we've handled here. We've worked it out. This requires a lot of practice. My suggestion would be that please go back and do it yourself. Open a newspaper, take a para from there, and try to see if you can ask yourself questions and see the logic that you're thinking is right or wrong. So, end of the day, what was our idea? To understand the purpose of analytical reasoning, that we have done in slide number 3. We've understood what is the purpose, why analytical reasoning is important, why they're asking us. I hope that is clear to all of you. Grasp what is deductive reasoning. We distinguish between inductive and deductive reasoning, and also stated that in our exam we are going to concentrate only on deductive reasoning, which is by way of inference. Learn how to go about reading a given para. I told you to break it up into smaller sentences so that you can read them clearly and try to understand the meaning of each sentence. Filter out the unwanted conclusions. Filter out things which are not required, which are wrong. The logic doesn't work, and arrive at the right deductions. This has been the purpose of this class through 2 examples, both of which have been solved for you, and I do hope that you benefit out of this. Now, regulation should be like walk the talk type, sir. Okay, that's your interpretation, but along, please remember that is your way of putting it. The writer in the para is not saying that. Now, supposing if they were to ask a question, so I'll take Olong's answer and say regulation is walk the talk. That you can say yes, this is correct. This has been derived from here. Ashwika says, so which newspaper articles are best for preparation? Popular papers, I would suggest you can read some financial dailies, read the editorial page. From that is from, the editorial page has a lot of such kind of issues, debates which are where they discuss. So do read Indian Express perhaps. Hindu is very good, Indian Express, Economic Times, Financial Express. Just read the editorial pages. Something you'll find there. But let me also say that you cannot prepare by reading a para from a newspaper. You will have to work on it. You will have to try and understand based on the questions that have been asked there. So by simply reading a para may not really help you, but take the para, ask someone to give you some questions on that, or you write your own questions from there. So can I say this is correct? Can I say this is wrong? This needs practice test. You should be looking for old question papers. They would be the best. But this is a new pattern, so you may not find it very easily there also. So maybe we'll have another class or two and see if we can bring in more examples to give you an idea. The author's viewpoint is necessary for what is RC here? Ashwika? Reasoning class? Yes, but the author's viewpoint is necessary. Your own viewpoint is not necessary. Author's logic that is being derived from the author's point of view. Reading comprehension. Yes, for reading comprehension, yes. Author's point has to be taken into account, not your point of view. Very true. So, thank you for clarifying reading comprehension. And I'm hopeful that this class would serve the purpose. Meanwhile, please study hard and practice. This requires a lot of practice on paper. Just reading will not help us, right? So thank you everyone. I should close the class now. Goodbye. Thank you.